Welcome to Looking at Legal Stuff. Today we have 8 family law and 5 minor guardianship hearings in a case where Dad wants Mom held in contempt when she refuses to return the children for the Christmas Day exchange. We will find out whether she returns them, and we will follow along throughout the year to see what happens with the custody of their minor children when neither parent seems capable of caring for them. Let's watch.
And Jason Chappelle. I see Mr. Chappelle is here.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is Shauna Ray here? I need to mute one participant. Thank you. All right, Mr. Chappelle, looks like there was some concerns about the transfer of the children on Christmas, and bring me up to date as to where things are at, okay?
So we got, due to my concerns for the children's well-being, while in care of their mother, the lack of communication and paranoid text, I intacted the drug test clause listed in our court order, page 11, section M, on Friday the 6th. I followed all the necessary steps and gave adequate notice to Ms. Ray. She confirmed the notice, yet did not go and complete the test. So as per this section 2 bullet states, failure to report is considered a positive outcome. And anyways, I have yet to talk to my kids or see my kids. And they're missing school, counseling, and doctor's appointments. I've tried to reach Shauna daily.
Just hang on a minute here.
Yes, sir.
So I've got a parenting plan that was entered in April. Here we go. I did make a copy of it.
Correct.
So it looks like the plan, and I don't think it's been changed, is that the children would live with you except for the first, third, and fifth weekends.
Correct.
And the weekends are defined by Friday. And what you indicated last time we were here is the kids were not transferred to you on Christmas Day. And there was some incident out on the porch. And then you haven't seen your kids since that time. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm very concerned.
Okay. So I don't have an order from you. I don't believe I have one. Take a look here. Oh, I do. Excuse me. So let me look at your contempt order. Although your contempt order goes to child support.
And return of kids.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to find that the child support is owing, so the monetary judgment in this order, I'm going to keep. Sir, there was a comment about a CPS investigation. Can you, but I couldn't figure out what that was about. Do you know?
Yes, Your Honor. I was it was a misunderstanding of communication, I believe, on Shauna's part. I think she reported me not living in the house, and I was abiding to my treatment recommendations and taking classes and setting up a sober support network, and also going to work. So I've stayed like 2 months or a month and a half in a sober house, treatment house, and to get my license back, to set up a social network, and all this completed. I'm in
Full
compliance with everything.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chappelle, I've signed your order as you presented it with this modification. Is that she's in contempt for not having you be in primary custody of the children.
Correct.
I've indicated that she can purge that contempt if she immediately returns Braden and Paisley to your custody with supervised visits to Shauna Ray.
Thank you.
I'm going to put this over 2 weeks to January 25th. If the children have not been returned to you by that time, then I'm going to consider jail time for Ms. Ray. Okay? Because she's not abiding by the parenting plan, and clearly was not abiding by the requirements for the winter break when you went over to pick up the children. So
Yes.
I'm not ordering jail time at this point, but that would be the next step if she does not begin to comply with the parenting plan. Okay. All right. So I've signed that order. We'll see you back here in 2 weeks. All right.
Can the police help me get my kids, or is there some paper stating that you made a judgment for them to return that I can come pick up?
How do I get my kids?
Well, the parenting plan would be the document that I believe you would show the police officers to show that you have primary custody and that she only has visitation on the weekends.
They said you needed something.
So if you want to show them the contempt order, you can, but I think the parenting plan would be a better document to show to the police if you know where the children are.
I have done that, and I talked to the police. We went to go talk to her and submit her more paperwork, and she wasn't home. But he says it's a
civil matter.
Civil matter. So unless he's got a judgment from you that states that she's in contempt or is violating that, they can't do nothing.
Your Honor, this is Tina Day.
Yes.
I'm not involved in this case, but as a friend to the court, I believe Mr. Chappelle is correct. A bench order from you seeking assistance from law enforcement to pick the children up would be easy and beneficial for him to make the pickup with the least amount of conflict. Otherwise, law enforcement generally will not assist.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm willing to do that. That order probably won't be ready until tomorrow, given my schedule today, but I'm willing to put that bench order together, okay?
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
And then we'll see you back here in 2 weeks, okay?
Thank you. Same time?
Same time, 9 o'clock, yes.
You have a matter filed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Shauna Ray and Jason Chappelle. I see Ms. Ray here.
I'm here.
Mr. Chappelle, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the question that I put this case over for was whether the children would be returned to the father. Have they been returned at this point?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Okay. All right, and Mr. Chappelle has moved for contempt because of a number of things. You still want to go forward with that hearing, Mr. Chappelle?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Then what we'll do is hear from Mr. Chappelle, and then Ms. Ray, you can respond. And then Mr. Chappelle, you have a chance to reply to that. So go ahead. Tell me or tell the court why you're moving for contempt in this case.
I found this order for contempt due to Shauna not following the parenting plan. I repeatedly reached out to speak with my children during the time that they were withheld. From 12/25 on the filing. Over the 2-week period of time they have missed doctor's appointments, school, and court-ordered counseling. As per the court order, page 9, section 1 of the parenting plan, I am supposed to be able to call and speak with my children while they are in the other party's custody, or without interference from the other party. At this time, before she returned them, I was unable to speak with them at all. So it was very stressful, not only on myself, but my children as well. I have reached out, text, email, phone calls. Shauna blocked communications for a while. I had to do a welfare check with law enforcement, make sure they were okay. She refused to respond to anything concerning kid return. I have been active communicating with CPS and the child's counselors. I'd like to find Miss Ray in contempt and place limitations on her visits to supervised only, but also like Miss Ray to follow through with personal counseling and attend the parenting classes that I and my spouse have completed, directions of the court. Let's see. The kids missed, my daughter Paisley missed a medical procedure scheduled for her ear that she was unable to attend due to being withheld, which is the second time it has been rescheduled due to Shauna's interference. But, Brady has shown signs of rebelling or acting out at school, and also at home. But they're back on their necessary medication and attending school regular and stabilized.
Keep reading.
It's just they're unable to do all the things that we had them to do, like for their well-being. We asked her to take a UA and she did not comply. She was properly served. And they missed school, they missed other things. But like I listed some places where she could do supervised visits and or Zoom visits. And also there's a concern about Mr. Wymore being in the house during the time the kids were there. And there's a report of my son running away from home. Shauna asked the cops to try to find him the day before Christmas. Or the day before, we picked him up on the 10th. Several of the people in the household put restraining orders against him.
Only he would know that if he's not on my phone. Right.
So
Okay, let me hear from Ms. Ray, okay? Ms. Ray, do you have a response to this request for a finding of contempt?
I do. First and foremost, I would like to apologize to you on my behalf, only because I'm just now learning that I really didn't have, I wasn't supposed to be withholding my children without your approval. And I was under this impression that if I felt that he wasn't following the parenting plan, that I could without your approval. So that's the reason why I withheld them. I withheld them because Mr. Chappell is not in the home with my children. He is residing in a drug and alcohol facility, and my children reside with his girlfriend. I would like to see if I can get a continuance, and that's only because I was not properly served these papers. I was served my paperwork on the 9th, and we had court on the 11th. He has many documents in here stating that he's tried to serve me or that he has served me on the 30th, and that is incorrect. He served my aunt, Renee Ray, not me. I wasn't even home, and he served her on the 9th. And they told her to give these papers to an adult, and she's 56 years old, so I don't know what they meant by that, except for that she is handicapped. And when I got home, I wasn't even given those papers till later that night because they forgot. Anyhow, we had court on the 11th, and I tried to attend my Zoom meeting multiple times. I talked to the office. They tried to get me on, and we couldn't, and it just ended up where everybody already stated what needed to be, and I missed my hearing. Let's see here. Mr. Chappell, I feel, is getting away with a lot. He is not in the home. Maybe he is now, but he was not in the home for 6 months. Why did I decide to do anything until now? I guess is because I'm constantly giving in to them, and I need to not, because it's not doing me anything except for the position that I'm in now. They did miss school due to my withholding. However, I was trying to get them into everything they needed to be in here, and everybody was called, and I was denied any kind of access, or I mean, not access, but the school told me you can't, that they got a phone call and they said that I did not have any parental rights to put my children into school. I thought that I had rights, and I'm being told that pretty much I have no rights to my children except for the visits that I get on the weekends, and that's every other first, third, and fifth weekend. I went from having my children full time to this, and I miss my children. This has all become like some, it shouldn't go this far, Your Honor, as far as they're taking all this. I have attached in this paperwork that I was supposed to do a UA. Okay, well, that's the only thing that I have is the paperwork that he's attached. There are emails. I have stated to them many times that the phone number that they're texting me on, the email address that they have doesn't work at all. The phone number, I don't even get half of my calls, my messages, nothing. They've known this. I've actually had to get a new number and a new email, everything because of this matter. I was not aware that I had a drug screening until this was attached to this. Another question that I have is that on the 11th, the day that I missed court, this paper was dropped off at my door by an officer after Jason had been trying to get the kids from me. And it just says that you signed it, told me to give him the kids immediately. However, when I got this paper, Your Honor, I called the courthouse, and the courthouse said that nothing was signed yet, and that it wouldn't be signed until we go to court on the 25th, which is today. So I'm wondering where this paper came from on the 11th that was handed to me with your signature, and is stating that pretty sure. Oh, that they're wanting $800 a month at 96% interest, all kinds of stuff. Can I ask, did you sign something on the 11th?
I'm looking up that. There was $800 amount, $96 was the interest. on that money.
Yeah.
That was for failure to pay child support, I believe. Okay.
Failure.
Let me go back to Mr. Chappelle. Any reply?
I have not been out of the house for 6 months. It was only November, December, and part of October. Currently, I've been residing in a sober house and doing outpatient. I've been following the recommendations of my recovery team. I have been in recovery since before the final parenting plan. The children have been in the care of a known and trusted person with minor attorney of power, my wife, in case of emergencies. All their needs have been met. Appointments attended, school attendance is great, daily checks. I've been doing daily checks and weekly visits, attending appointments with them, and active in counseling, my own and theirs. I don't know what else to refer to.
All right, thank you both. This case has been before me a few times, and the beginning concern was Mr. Chappelle was to get the children back, I believe, on Christmas Day, and they were not returned. Ms. Reyes indicated that she didn't realize she needed to come to court to make a change. Not realizing that, I don't think forgives the lack of transferring the children back to Mr. Chappelle. The parenting plan is clear that Ms. Chappelle receives the children on the weekend. Mr. Chappelle is the main, has primary custody. The Christmas visitation plan was set out clearly, and that was not followed. Ms. Ray has raised some concerns of her own. And apparently Mr. Chappelle has asked for a UA, which is provided for under Section 14 of the current parenting plan. And Ms. Ray did not follow through on that. So here's what I'm going to do today. First of all, I am going to require Ms. Ray do a UA between now and Friday and file the results with the court under seal, which means they're protected from the public. Secondly, I'm going to reappoint Mallory Smith as the guardian ad litem to investigate where we're at currently since the parenting plan has been issued. So that's the second issue. The third is between now and, the near future, any visitations with Ms. Ray need to be supervised by a professional supervisor. I'm hoping after a report from Ms. Smith that we can perhaps remove that requirement. But for right now, the concern is that Ms. Ray kept the kids in contravention of the current parenting plan, and I don't want to have that be an issue in the future. So we're going to have supervised visits. Finally, the request today is for makeup time for Mr. Chappelle for the time he missed. And I'm going to reserve on that. I'm going to do this. I'll make a finding that you're entitled to make up time. I just don't know when I'm going to order it. And for what period of time I'm going to order it. So I'm going to find you are entitled to that because of the kids were with Ms. Ray for a period of time when they should have been with Mr. Chappelle. But I'm going to address exactly when that is in the future. Okay, so it's going to be Ms. Ray will need to arrange for the professional supervision. We'll need to pay for it. Mr. Chappelle, you'll need to cooperate by bringing the kids over to a professional supervisor when that's arranged. Okay, I'm going to set another hearing to see whether that's been accomplished for February 8th. It's 2 weeks. And to have Ms. Smith will likely contact both of you before that time, and I'm interested in what she has to say. All right, I'm going to do a bench order to that effect. I'm not going to sign the contempt order at this time. And I'll see both of you back here in 2 weeks, okay? All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, we're still going to take Shauna Ray and Jason Chappelle. And Ms. Ray, where are you here? Oh, there you are. Okay. I think last time we were here, I had required a UA would be completed by February 10th. And I haven't seen the results of that. Were you able to do that, Ms. Ray?
The results should have went to Mallory.
And maybe they weren't filed with the court. Were those provided to you, Ms. Smith?
I'm not aware that those results have been provided to me. I can check through were they sent via fax or email, Ms. Ray?
I'm sorry, Mallory, they were sent, as far as I knew, email. I could not find your fax number that you gave me.
Okay.
And they didn't have your fax.
Okay. Was this with the Awakenings, Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm opening up results. I apologize. I just received an email that said lab results, so I wasn't aware that it was for Ms. Ray's.
I tried getting a hold of you myself just on your regular messages because I didn't know if I was supposed to be putting that stuff on the app, but I neither place did you answer me. I didn't get any answer from you at all.
Let's see here. Okay, so I do have the results. Your Honor, would you like me to file these with the court today, or would you like me to forward them to you? I'm happy to do either or.
Well, why don't we discuss what they are now? What do they show?
Okay, so we have positive for cannabis use, it looks like. Ms. Ray.
I have the same test sitting right in front of me.
Okay.
And it just says it's a negative test results on 2/24/23 at 4:38 p.m. And Daniel Anderson was the office manager on site that day and signed by me. It's just check. I have where I paid for it.
Okay. That was not provided to me. I have just a picture of patient negative. My apologies. Yep. So it says on 2/24, submitted at 4:38 p.m. Patient is negative. Shauna Ray's signature, and then the office manager is signed. And this is from Awakenings.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you for getting that completed. I guess the question is this. There's now been a minor guardianship action filed by Jessica Chappelle that we're all involved in, that I'm dealing with, trying to create visitation to Ms. Ray. And I'm wondering if this case in the family law court should in effect be suspended, so we deal with everything in the minor guardianship action. And Ms. Smith, what do you think of that proposal? And I'll let the parties comment about that.
My apologies, Your Honor. So I think that it is most appropriate for us to evaluate the minor guardianship. I think that it's no surprise that one of the parents is in agreement with
in there, and I just don't see her.
Let me mute this person. Go ahead.
So one of the parents is in agreement with the guardianship. One of the parents is not in agreement with the guardianship. So statutorily, we need to evaluate whether it's even appropriate for Miss Overby or Chappelle to gain guardianship, even on an emergency basis, or a full minor guardianship. And then addressing the specifics of this family law matter don't appear appropriate at this time, given the full or the guardianship case that's currently pending. I think it would create a little more confusion for the parties than assisting and moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Ray, any comment?
Yeah, of course, I'm gonna agree. I think that the case with Jason, if that's what the question is, that I'm understanding, if this new case with Jason needs to be suspended, is that what I'm getting?
Well, till we figure out what's going on in the minor guardianship case.
I think that I think that it shouldn't be Miss Chapel having an option to get guardian for the children. It should be me or Jason. And I feel that Jason has a couple times now neglected and abandoned his children.
He's outside. I don't know. I'm doing something. I'm sorry.
I'm muting them now. Okay. All right. I understand your position on that. Mr. Chappell, any comment?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like both of the cases to be combined. I have not neglected or abandoned my children. And Miss Overby is more than capable of taking care of all the children's needs. So I believe she's able to navigate the court system just fine and be able to deal with whatever comes her way.
Okay. So, Ms. Ray, in the minor guardianship matter, you will be able to argue that Ms. Chappelle should not be the minor guardian. And by what I'm about to do isn't going to take that away or take your argument away on that. But I think in terms of how these cases move along together, we need to determine whether the minor guardianship is appropriate. If it's not, then we need to come back to this case and figure out what the parenting plan will be for the children. If it is appropriate, then that probably is going to govern how the kids will be cared for in the at least immediate future. So what I'm going to do with this case is put it over to May 3rd at 9 o'clock. That should give us enough time to address the minor guardianship petition.
Is there?
And I'm not sure when the next minor guardianship hearing is, but I suspect it's in a couple weeks, and we'll be moving forward on that.
I believe it's next Wednesday.
Okay, that would fit. It's probably on Tuesday. If you check, that's when my docket for that is.
I haven't still heard from Mr. South, Timothy South.
Have you tried to call him yourself?
I have spoke with him, but as
Okay.
far as his communicating, I've only spoke with him a couple times, and he's like, he's gonna get into the case and read it, and I don't hear from him, so I call him again. I'm gonna get into the case and read it, and right now I'm stuck with, haven't heard from him, so I'm gonna call him after here. I don't know which.
Call him right now and at least leave a message that there's a hearing next week.
Right.
He'll need to be part of that hearing.
Okay.
All right, so thank you for again doing the test. I'm glad it was negative. I'm going to put this over to May 3rd at 9 o'clock, but we'll be dealing with the minor guardianship proceeding in the meantime. So I will probably see you back here next Tuesday.
All right.
All right, thank you. Guardianship of Paisley Chappelle and Braden Chappelle.
I am here on that matter.
All right, good morning, Ms. Overby. Ms. Smith.
Good morning, Your Honor. I received a call from Tim South yesterday indicating that he had a rescheduled medical appointment, so his appearance isn't here. It's my understanding that this hearing was for orders that he was supposed to present.
We're here for a review, and I got the same note just now that he apparently has surgery today. Anybody else here on the guardianship of Paisley Chappelle?
I am, Shauna. I'm here.
Okay. Good. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me find out a couple things and we'll decide what we do. Were you able to have any of the video visits?
I had one and I missed one.
Okay. Any in-person visits, supervised visits?
No, because I wasn't aware that I could have those.
Okay. Just a moment here. Ms. Smith, were you able to speak to the parties or look at this at all?
Yeah, so just as a reminder, I have a GAL investigation pending on the parenting plan, the pro se parenting plan. So I have previously started my GAL investigation. So in conjunction with that, I'm completing the court visitor report. I should be able to have the court visitor report because it's so limited. I should be able to have that filed next week. But I kind of have two competing investigations.
Okay. Mr. South has asked that this be put over as a result of his surgery. It looks like we need a little more time for the court visitor report. If I put this over 2 weeks, will that work with you, Ms. Ray?
Yeah.
So that would be to the 28th. Okay, I'll continue the immediate emergency order. My expectation is hopefully on the 28th that if the parties do not agree, that we have a hearing on the emergency minor guardianship order on that date. Okay, so if you want to plan on that.
All right.
Okay.
Is there anything that needs filed for that hearing?
I think Miss Smith's report is probably what I'm going to need, and then what we usually do is place the various parties under oath, and they can testify as to why the emergency guardianship should be entered and why it shouldn't. And then based on the statute, I'll make a decision. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We'll see you back here on the 28th.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Last matter is the guardianship of Paisley Chappelle and Braden Chappelle. And my understanding is we were going to do an evidentiary hearing today on this case. Is anybody not able to go forward with that today?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Sal.
Yes, and we just kind of really gotten into this case. This is a case that I'm going to ask to withdraw from. I've spoken with Mr. Anagnostou, and he's willing to represent them, take over my representation of the mother. And I think then Mr. Anagnostou would need some time to prepare for a hearing. And I think Mr. Anagnostou is still here.
He did. He just went on. Let me go back to that file. All right, so we do have an immediate a minor guardianship order in place. Mr. Anagnostou, any sense of how long it would take you to prepare for this case?
Without knowing anything about it, probably 3 weeks.
All right.
Your Honor, if I just may provide a little bit of information I've been as the court visitor on this matter. I'm subsequently also appointed as the GAL on the family law matter. I just wanted to make record that the GAL review for the pro se family law matter, the report's due May 3rd, 2023. So I guess my recommendation might be to the court to maybe discharge me as the court visitor, appoint me as the GAL, have the review for the GAL report to be filed in both matters to allow the parties and the court to have the same information to consider in both arenas.
And then set this matter May 9th, which would be after the May 3rd report is due.
Yes.
Any comment about that? Ms. Ray, I think I'd like to hear from you and your position.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I have nothing to say. I was gonna say I haven't heard from Mr. South, but he's here. I'm having a little issue with the conversations over the phone with my children.
What are those issues?
My son brought up that he wanted me to mail his birthday presents because his birthday's next month. And I asked him why, and he mentioned that he was hearing that he's probably not going to see me again. And his sister Paisley said the same. And then I did get upset, and I asked for myself to be let go. I probably said a few things that I shouldn't have said, because my children shouldn't be bringing stuff like that up to me. I did get off the phone. It seems like the over the phone visits aren't
going so well. And I feel like it's because of there's a lot of background noise. I can barely hear my children as is. And conversations over the phone only on Tuesdays or at all. I feel like I'm limited. I'm getting to the point to where it's like, what do you talk about? I'm constantly asking them the same questions. I'm hoping to start getting visits with them here through Reconnecting Families soon. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Overby, can you give me some thoughts on how the telephone visits are going and why the children may make a comment like they may not see their mother again?
That is not true. The children know that they can see their mom and that it is up to her to schedule the visits. They do ask a lot of questions about when they're going to see their mom again. And we have been working with the WISE team to kind of encourage those conversations to go better, as there isn't really a good answer when Miss Ray hasn't set up visits in so long. Court ordered supervised visits back in January, and she has yet to set up one. And that is very stressful for the kids. The calls have not been going well. Paisley made a comment about mailing the birthday presents, and Shauna did get very upset and asked them specifically, why would you say that? You act like you're never going to see me again. And they did say that they felt that way. And it ended up being a very horrible conversation. They were all crying. Shauna did get off the phone. The week previous to that, Shauna started the conversation with, don't you want to see me again? I hope that, you know, we can see each other. And that put a bad tone to the conversation to start with. And they ended up getting off of the phone feeling very upset and distraught. But really, the ball is in Shauna's court to set up these visits at this time. I've made myself available to provide the transportation as needed, but I've heard nothing back.
Ms. Ray, what's your contact with Reconnecting Families?
That's what I wanted to mention, that I have spoken with, I'm not remembering her name right now. And I just spoke with her a couple days ago.
Was that Beth Fellows?
Huh?
Was that Beth Fellows? Does that ring a bell?
I believe so, yes. And she had been sick. She said last time I talked to her before that, it'd been a week, a little over a week maybe. I've been calling, trying to schedule these appointments, and nobody's getting a hold of me, just like Tim South. I don't know if it's my phone or what's going on. I am doing my part. I'm not sitting here. I feel like I'm on a standstill. Everybody keeps pushing me back. Like I gotta wait for another attorney to come in and read my stuff again. And I'm fine with that. I'm gonna have to be, but I am doing my part. And Beth said that she is going to try to get me in Saturday. Do not mention it. She'll see what she can do, because she's booked. I have no choice but to see my children on a Saturday or Sunday due to school schedules. And she's booked on Saturday and Sundays. So I did bring up, is there somebody else you can refer me to? She mentioned maybe, but you're going to pay more, you know. She's trying to save me on the cost. That's where I'm at.
All right, I'm going to appoint Mr. Anagnostou as your new attorney. And Mr. Anagnostou, maybe you could help make some contact with Reconnecting Families and see if we can get
Right.
the visitation set up. I would like those to occur as soon as we can. I think I need to put this case over, as I indicated, to May 9th. And it sounds like I need to convert Ms. Smith from a CV to a GAL in this case.
Your Honor.
And I'll just file a new order to that effect. Let me make a note and then I'll take the question. Go ahead. Who is speaking?
It was me. What
Yes,
does the
please.
WISE program have to do with my visitation?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Ms. Overby, do you want to explain that?
The WISE team does not specifically have anything to do with the visitation. They are the intensive in-home family team that works with Braden specifically, as he was referred to the WISE team from his counselor at BHR due to his behavioral concerns and emotional issues. And so they help him process bluntly, the trauma and emotional
You mentioned
effects.
that I hadn't contacted the WISE program.
Just, okay. Ms. Ray, you want to repeat that? I want to know what you just said.
She mentioned that I hadn't contacted the WISE program, and so I'm asking why I've already talked to them. He didn't mention that I had to go through him to see my children. So where is she not getting that I'm not trying to see my children? She stated it.
There's no order from this court that you need to go through the WISE program to see your children. The order is, once supervised visits are set up professionally, and that would be through Reconnecting Families, if that's who you contacted, then Ms. Overby is to cooperate to bring the children there so you can have a visit.
Can I finish clarifying?
Sure, please.
Where I was getting at with the WISE team is they help Braden process the stress of the conversations. And I was being asked about how those calls have been going and talking about why they would feel like they aren't going to see their mom anymore. Braden talks extensively with the WISE team about these phone calls and the visits because they are very stressful to him.
All right. Part of the reason that I ordered supervised visits was in hopes that I would get some visit notes, which I know Reconnecting Families always create when a visit occurs, to give me some feedback on how the relationship between the mother and the children are going. So I'm hoping we can do that. I'm hoping I get some of that feedback before May 9th. Okay. All right. Any other questions or concerns before we?
I was just wondering if Miss Ray could call into my office. That'd be the quickest way for me to start communicating with her.
Yes, I can.
I have my phone number.
Can I get your number?
Sure. 360-425-6500.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. I think that's it on this case, and we'll see everybody back here.
I have one more quick question about scheduling. On May 3rd, will that report be presented at a docket?
No, that's on a Wednesday, I believe. That's when the report will be due. It should be emailed or sent to you in some form, so you'll have a chance to review it. The next docket when we come back will be May 9th at 10:30.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, that was a good question.
Can I
Ms. Ray?
ask one more question?
Absolutely.
Where is Mr. Chappell?
I can answer that question. He tried to get on today and was not able to. He is
In general, like, is he still in a home or where is he?
he is seeing the kids sporadically and having phone calls with them. He is in full agreement of this guardianship and has
Not what I asked, but okay.
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 We'll probably determine that on May 9th. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you. That'll be it on this case. We'll see everybody back here on May 9th.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you for everybody's input. We'll see you back here on May 23rd. Ms. Fard, anything else?
That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Guardianship of Paisley Chappelle and Braden Chappelle. I saw Shauna Ray here and Mr. Anagnosti's here. Did you see Mallory Smith's note? At least she sent me one requesting that this matter be put over to June 6th. She needs a little bit more time, and then the proposed guardian, Ms. Overby, wasn't available the week before. So she wanted to put this over to June 6th. And then we're going to put the parenting plan that's in the family law court over to June 7th. Anybody have any objection to that?
I guess we don't have an objection as long as the court will consider residential time for my client between now and then at today's hearing.
I know that Shauna Ray has visits set up through the supervised visiting center that we had been working with.
There's some issues we need to bring up, Your Honor.
Okay, let's go ahead and address those.
All right. This weekend is Mother's Day's weekend. My client would like to see her children on Mother's Day. Her next scheduled visit is not until the 20th. And it's supervised visitation through Beth Fellows Reconnecting Families. So we'd like a visit to occur on Mother's Day. We understand the next supervised visit is not until the 20th. She's supposed to be getting phone calls, but the phone calls are very problematic. They're at 7 o'clock at night. I believe it might be at 6, but it's
7
hour. And then my client is cut off. We would like those earlier in the day and at least twice a week so she can, maintain better contact with her children and a relationship with her children. She's doing everything in her power to reestablish a relationship. So between now and the next hearing, we'd like 2 times a week at either 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon for an hour. The current phone contact is 1 time a week, and it interferes apparently with their dinner time. So we'd like it earlier so it doesn't interfere, and twice a week.
All right, thank you. Ms. Overby, any response?
Yes, Your Honor. In regards to the phone call, those are very stressful for the children. They don't know what to talk about. Braden is often upset after the call. It is scheduled from 6 to 7 o'clock on Tuesdays. She is only utilizing she calls it 7 usually, but not even every week does she call. Sometimes they sit and wait for this call and it never comes. It often leaves them upset. They often argue. There's always conversations about stuff that they're going to receive from their mother, but then it never shows up. Like they swapped addresses so that they could mail things back and forth. She's never mailed anything to them. They check every package that shows up. So I am not inclined to increase the amount of phone calls in a week myself. He did just get visits set up to every other week with the reconnecting families. She had her first visit last week. I heard it went okay. Braden was very anxious afterwards and had kind of a hard evening, but did very well and recovered well. But I'd like to see how those really go. Shauna is not using the parenting app that the
Because I
Guardian
can't
has
get
always
on the
recommended
parenting
that
app.
we utilize. You're talking over me. She has not actually logged onto it since March 24th.
Right.
And so she is not receiving any of our messages that
I wasn't before
or
then.
any communication, like the extra phone call that I offered for Braden's birthday, the extra phone call I offered for Easter, the extra phone call I offered for Mother's Day, because she's not utilizing the court-ordered communication and calling from a different number every week.
Okay, Joe.
Mr. Agnosto, I'll let you respond if you want.
Well, without speaking with my client, I wouldn't have a response to the parenting app. I think she was saying something to that effect this morning to me about the parenting app. But the real point is, my client needs this process to move along. The father's out of the picture. She's going to do everything in her power to have a safe home for the children. And we need to get this process moving. We understand that the court's ordered the supervised residential time to reconnect my client with the children. She's doing that. And then we have these requests for, this weekend, Mother's Day weekend, and going forward until the next hearing. And I think they're relatively simple requests, and the children need to get used to their mother being in their lives, because that's what's going to be the outcome of this, we believe.
Your Honor.
Briefly, Ms. Ray, go ahead.
I would like to state that I've been having problems shortly after we connected to the app that Mallory had set us up with. And Mallory has been, I've told Mallory that I'm having problems with that app. I cannot see most of the things that Miss Overby is asking of me or texting whomever she's texting on that app, where the text should be, as far as communication goes, it's just blocked out. It's gray. I can't read through it at all. I've asked Mallory why it's going on. I've asked Joe why it's going on. They're both saying that they don't see that on their end. I've screenshotted it. I've sent it to Mallory. Mallory is well aware that I know of why I'm not on that app no more. I've never been able to communicate really at all with that app.
What app was that?
It's PPI.
It's app close, Your Honor.
App close.
And
why it's blocking out, I don't know. I have wrote the company itself, never heard back from them, and I believe Mallory had also wrote them, but I don't know the outcome of it. I never went back on that app.
Jason, Mallory, and myself are communicating effectively with that app on a very regular basis.
You probably are. I'm not going to make some stuff up. I sent the picture to Mallory. Mallory has it. I cannot see more than half of what you guys communicate about. I'm blocked out of it.
All right, let me address the app in just a minute. Ms. Smith recommended supervised visits with reconnecting families. That's been set up. Apparently, there's only been one visit.
Yes, it has.
I don't think that's sufficient for me to allow unsupervised visits at this point. I need a more of a track record, and I need to see the notes from reconnecting families. I do think it's appropriate to have a phone call on Mother's Day. Ms. Overby, what time would that work for you?
We have a musical at 2:00 on Mother's Day, so morning time or later in the evening, whichever she would prefer.
Ms. Ray, would a 10:00 telephone call work for you?
Sure, yeah.
So can I impose a question, Your Honor?
Sure.
Why can't my client go to the musical? Plenty of people around. It won't be unsupervised, you know. It's not necessarily supervised either, but there's people around and she could see the children at the musical and it's on Mother's Day and tell them Mother's Day and then leave. It's an open public event, I assume.
Ms. Overby, what's your thoughts on that?
My thought is that I do not want to be responsible for Miss Ray's interactions with the children. I don't feel comfortable with that. Me and Shauna do not always get along. And I think that would be stressful on both of us and the children, to be honest.
Your Honor, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why do I have supervised visits?
Because it's recommended by the guardian ad litem at this point. And again, I've got that recommendation. I'm following it. I don't believe there's been, again, enough of a track.
No, I understand that, but the actual me having to have supervised visits is based upon what? Why? What did I do to have supervised visits? I've never been told that except for I dated Mr. Wymore in the past. That was it. I've complied with everything
Ms.
else.
Smith is not here right now, but I'm going to follow her recommendation. So I'm going to order a 10 a.m. telephone call on Mother's Day initiated by Ms. Ray to the children. That should last for some period of time. And otherwise, I'm not going to allow Ms. Ray to go to the musical. The next supervised visit is the 20th. And the next date we're going to be together here will be June 6th at 10:30. And I will be entertaining more visitation and look at the type of visitation with Ms. Ray on that date. Okay.
One further question, is there going to be another immediate order entered in? There was a lapse in paperwork and I was struggling with a couple of things with the kids, like the WISE team in particular needed me to sign some ROIs, but I could not get a hold of that paperwork.
Yes, I will extend the immediate.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
And the phone contact, is the court going to entertain my request that it be expanded to twice a week and change the times
I'm going to deny that request at this point. We'll look at that on June 6th. It'll still be once a week. I guess from 6 to 7 is what's been ordered. All right. Thank you. We'll see you back here on June 6th.
Thank you.
Shauna Ray and Jason Chappelle. You guys saw Mr. Chappelle here. And Mr. Anagnostou represents Ms. Ray. I saw that appointment. Is Ms. Ray here? I don't hear her.
I know when I spoke with her yesterday, she indicated she was going to be here, Your Honor.
Let me just ask again, is Shauna Ray here?
I know in the hearing yesterday, she wasn't able to get on. She was trying to get on. And of course, all those hearings got moved yesterday.
Right. And we moved that hearing till tomorrow. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I'm tracking this case to go after the decision in the minor guardianship case. So we should put this case over then just a week to June 14th. And we'll see what happens in the minor guardianship case.
All right. I was trying to go through all the pleadings that have been filed in this case, which are extensive. There's a 44-page list of pleadings, and was trying to figure out what it's on for. It's on for review, or?
Well, it got set for a parenting plan. And then I think after that, there was a request for minor guardianship. And so I've been having this case follow the minor guardianship case because I don't know what I'm going to do in that case, but I want that decided first.
Okay.
Did you receive the GAL report in the minor guardianship case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So we'll address that and see how we proceed with that case tomorrow then. Okay.
And this is set, go ahead. I'm sorry.
To the 14th at 9 o'clock.
Got it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nicholas.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Shauna Ray and Jason Chappelle. Mr. Anagnostou.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is Jason Chappelle here? All right. I think this needs to go over one more time because we've got the minor guardianship set next week. I did get your filing showing the negative hair follicle. So
Right.
I'll take that into account next week also when we deal with the minor guardianship.
That's not
Right. The minor guardianship is on Tuesday?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to go forward with it at that time, and then we'll come back to this docket. I should a week.
It was the internet.
That would be June 21 at 9 o'clock.
Okay. Very good, Your Honor.
Ms. Smith, will that work for you?
Yes, that's fine, Your Honor.
Okay. I'll see you both back then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, Mallory Smith, guardian ad litem. I am referring to the Ray versus Chapel matter. I believe this should be a set over. We have a minor guardianship that's competing with this that is still moving forward.
Okay, I did see that. Thank you. So let's call number 4 in our docket, 17-3001028. That is Shauna Ray and Jason. Is it Chappelle or Chapel?
Mr. Chapel.
Thank you. Please correct me if I say names wrong. I often do. So do we have Ms. Ray on Zoom? Just
It's my understanding, Your Honor, that she has representation from Mr. Anagnostou.
Yes.
I attempted to make contact with him earlier this week to see if we could set this matter over. But I know that has a pretty heavy caseload. So
Yes.
I don't know if he was in agreement with the set over or not.
About every time I'm a fill-in commissioner, I see, sir, you on the docket. So I know that you do have a busy caseload.
I didn't have a chance to get back to her, and I don't have this case is tied to a guardianship action on that docket, and so it can be set over. Sure.
Okay. And then I think I saw a respondent on here. Sir, are you with us? Maybe I didn't.
I saw Mr. Chappell earlier as well.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. It's just under a different name. Thank you.
Yes.
So the request is to set this over. I do see that there's kind of a tracking guardianship issue that has been making its way through the process. And the note I wrote to myself was, get an update on the guardianship case. So it sounds like that's still working its way through the channels. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Yes.
How much time would we be asking for a set over of this family law matter then?
I would
Probably,
suggest a month.
Yeah, I was going to say 3 weeks, but a month is good.
Okay. So what if we do, are the parties available July 26th?
I am, Your Honor.
That
Okay.
works for me.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Chappell. Okay, great. So let's go ahead, and I'll just note, due to the guardianship matter, we'll go ahead and continue this case to our July 26th, 9 a.m. docket.
Right. I have one question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
If it's all right for me to have Zoom visits every weekend with my kids?
Your Honor, I would respectfully ask that this be moved to the minor guardianship matter, because the children are actually in the custody of a guardian at this time, and not in the custody of mom at this time. So I think that's more appropriate that it's addressed in the minor guardianship.
And I think that's probably true. I'm just looking, there was a bench order back in February, but that was only relating to Ms. Ray's contact via phone. So I probably, sir, I don't have anything in front of me to make an educated decision one way or the other about whether that would be in the best interest of the child. So one of two things. Number one, as Ms. Smith noticed, please, you can address that in the guardianship case when that comes up next. Or if you want this court to look at it, I would need some documentation filed with that request and some sort of evidence supporting that would be in the best interest of the child. Otherwise, for now, I'm going to leave this family law case as is.
The guardian asked me to ask, so.
Understood.
My wife, yes.
Totally understood. So it sounds like addressing this in the guardianship case first is going to be the best move forward. And I think this court would be more comfortable with that avenue. Okay. But I appreciate you bringing it up. And it's certainly, if it's something that hasn't been addressed by the time we meet again in a month, get something filed with this court about at least 5 days before that hearing, and we can talk about it at that next review date.
All right.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you. And questions?
None.
No.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you all. You are free to log out. Good morning, Mr. Anagnostou. I think I'm ready for your case if you are. This will be Shauna Ray and Jason Chappell or Chappelle, not exactly sure the correct pronunciation. And then I see Ms. Smith present, GAL. This is case 3 on our docket. 173001028. I don't off the bat see either of the parties present. Are we expecting them?
I was expecting my client. I know she's had difficulty with the technology, but I don't see her either.
Two other non-GAL parties present. I'm not sure if there's a tech glitch happening, but I still have 5 more cases on the docket, and I don't have complete parties present for any of those. So I don't know if it's a tech thing.
I would suspect that father likely is not going to appear.
Okay.
Managing these deadlines has been pretty challenging for him. He's also an inpatient right now, so I don't know that he has access.
I did see that from the guardianship case. I don't know, Mr. Anagnosto, Ms. Smith, in light of the party's absence, should we renote this? Or we can wait a few minutes. It's really up to you all. I did review the guardianship update, and I did see that update about father and inpatient.
And usually the guardian is here, and I don't see her either.
Ms. Smith is the GAL.
Yeah, not the GAL, but the petitioner.
Oh, I gotcha, from the minor guardianship. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, they're not on either.
It's my understanding that she typically just observes on YouTube, as she's not a party to this case.
Yeah.
I guess my suggestion to the court to consider is maybe, and if Mr. Anagnosti would be agreeable to this, is just having it noted at a later date, setting it out for another 30-day review, given the status of the minor guardianship. I was just wondering if Mr. Anagnosti would just prefer to set it for hearing once the minor guardianship has been dealt with. But again, I guess I would defer to the court and Mr. Anagnosti.
I mean, that makes sense to do it that way. And this was set up by Commissioner Nelson to go along with the guardianship case. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense that we do that.
Okay, just looking to see when the next, looks like the next guardianship will be August 17th. That's your next appearance on the guardianship. That's when they're going to review some additional requests for visitation, perhaps, or just review the visitation, I guess it says. We'll consider limiting visitation during the next hearing. So do you want to set this out on our first docket after August 17th?
That's what we've been doing. And then it ends up, we end up having this hearing in advance of the guardianship, but I think that's what we should do. Yeah.
Okay. So if the parties are available, I could offer, so the 17th is a Thursday, so we'd be looking at Wednesday, August 23rd at 9 a.m.
I will actually be out of the office that week. Can we do the 30th?
Yeah, Mr. Anagnosto, if you have no objection, we can move this to the 30th.
We have the Ludwig trial the week of, according to my calendar.
28th. Yeah. Well, we could go out to September 6th, and if you all feel like you need to renote it on quicker, we certainly can.
I think that would be preferred.
Okay, let's do September 6th at 9 a.m. You know, I'm comfortable with that because there is that tracking minor guardianship case that's addressing most of the same issues. So unless the parties have something on the family law front solely that comes up, you could certainly feel free to note it on sooner.
And is that date okay with you, Ms. Smith?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. We'll get that set, and we'll see you folks back here on September 6th on this matter.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, counsel.
Thank you.
Mr. Anagnostu, do you have a matter on?
Yes, Your Honor. Number 1 on the docket, Shauna Ray. I'm court-appointed counsel for Miss Ray. There's a guardianship case, a companion guardianship case that's going to be heard next week. And these two cases kind of follow each other along. This is of course, the family law case. I don't see Mr. Chappelle unless he's on the phone. Part of the issue is Mallory Smith was the guardian ad litem in both the guardianship case and in this family law case. And she's no longer a guardian ad litem.
Well, she just filed an order for an extension in GAL fees. It looks like that was entered August 18th of this year.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I don't see Miss Smith here.
Right.
But given that order, it makes me think she may still be finishing this case.
Okay.
So, and you said the guardianship matter is on, is it on for a trial next week or?
No, it's on for a review hearing.
Okay. Do we need to find out what's going on in that before we move forward in here?
No, I think at this point, the family law case is kind of on hold until the guardianship case is resolved, the third party request, because at this point, neither of the parents have placement of the children with them.
Okay. Well, I can set this over 1 week or I can set it over 3 weeks or longer, I guess. I don't have anybody in the waiting room. I don't hear a response from Jason Chappell or Chappelle. Star 6 to unmute.
Yeah, why don't we do 3 weeks? That way we can know what happens next week, and potentially if I need to file pleadings, that will give me time to file documents in this action.
So how about the 27th at 9 a.m.?
Sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to, there we go. Let's go back to the chapel matter. And Ms. Farr?
Yes, good morning, Judge.
Good morning. So where do we stand?
I'm sorry, I missed, if you called it first, I missed the beginning.
Oh, I'm sorry, on the chapel matter.
So in chapel, we have completed a couple of visits with Mother at the community house center where she's residing. Mother's had some issues there, but she's looking for somewhere else to move to. She's put in applications. The visits have gone well. The last there were 2 of them 2 weeks apart or 3 weeks apart. Mother was moved into a larger space that has 2 sets of bunk beds where she can.
Hang on, let me stop you for just a minute. I see Mr. Chappelle just showed up.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Farr.
Okay, and so she's moved into a space where she can accommodate the children overnight now if the court wishes to start doing maybe an overnight. The children are excited to do that, from what I understand. I did talk with the kids, I believe yesterday or the day before. I know that the petitioner has some input on that too. She may disagree with me. I think that Mother is still struggling to take some accountability for the things that are going on and wants people to bend towards her instead of her trying to prove herself. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else to report. Kids are doing well. They're in a lot of activities. I haven't heard from father at all, but my understanding from petitioner is that father has relapsed.
Ms. Overby, what's your position?
I'm here.
I would like to get a reoccurring visitation schedule set up for Miss Ray to be able to see the children on a scheduled visit. I know that there's a lack of communication between myself and Miss Ray. She's not using the parenting app. We had a mishap during one of the phone calls where I had left the kids' phone, but I had my phone, and I had no way to contact her to say, hey, please call my phone instead of their phone for this visit. As far as the phone calls have gone, she missed a phone call. One phone call went very poorly, and one call went actually pretty well, and one phone call went just okay. And so about 50-50 with the phone calls on Tuesday nights. Father has been very sporadic about his phone calls. I know that he is expressing interest in setting up some sort of in-person visitation. I feel like I need to see some clean UAs in order to accommodate that. We do have several proposed supervisors on standby, ready to go to be able to accommodate his visits.
Let me stop you just a second there, ma'am. Ms. Farr, are you familiar with the proposed supervisors at all?
I'm not for father.
Okay.
But I did want to add a couple things. So we did have the supervisor for mother, which seems to be working okay. And I agree with petitioner about using that app, because the mother is emailing me with a lot of micromanagement requests that I don't think I need to be involved in, and those things could be handled on her own if she did use the app.
All right, thank you. Okay, Ms. Overby, go ahead.
I know that with Miss Ray's visits, the supervisor has been open to meeting in the middle, like in the Chehalis Centralia area, so that there's less transportation for the children in order to have those visits be easier to accommodate. And I was hopeful that maybe me and the supervisor or me and Miss Ray could start setting up those visits ourselves. That way it's less of a burden on Miss Farr. Because the lack of communication really makes me hesitant to want, to increase visits at this time if she's not able to communicate and establish those things on her own. I know that she relies, very heavily on this center to maintain consistency. I do have some concerns about the center itself. The environment is quite terrifying. There are homeless and people who are high wandering all over around the building and in the parking lots around. I was scared out of my parking space while I was waiting to pick up the kids, because there were just a lot of people circling my car, and they went and got more people to circle my car. It was very uncomfortable. And so I am still very alarmed at the environment that they are having these visits at. And I would feel more comfortable at a park or a public library, somewhere in the middle.
Mr. Anagnosto?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Shauna Ray, is the mother of the two children. She is disabled. She's on disability. She struggled with housing. If you look back, this case has been going on for some time. She has resolved the housing by going into the community house. And I'm sure Your Honor is very familiar with the community house and the services that they provide for our kind of desperate citizens that need a residence. So she's in the community house. She has a case manager. She has regular UAs. It's an absolutely drug-free environment. They've set it up for a room for the children. She needs to move this along. She needs overnights with her children. Now, this using this app thing is a new issue, and it's very irritating because Miss Overby, it tells you, "Oh, just send an app. You know, we can work this out. We'll meet in Chehalis. Everything will be great." When absolutely the opposite's been happening. She has done, you know, virtually everything in her power to prevent my client from having regular contact with her children. It's been because she lives up north outside of Olympia. You know, it's been a constant, my client not getting her residential time. And for one reason or another, my clients, you know, tried to set up various visitations by agreement. That she had her oldest daughter, her granddaughter was having a first birthday. She tried to arrange something there that got squashed by Miss Overby. So Miss Overby is in a former relationship with the father of the child, and we think she is doing being an obstructionist to basically so that he at some point can get out of his drug treatment. It's our understanding he is failed out yet again of another inpatient program and is using again. But nevertheless, she's going to do everything in her power to obstruct my client for the benefit of her former boyfriend or the former significant relationship they had. So that's where we are. We need to move this along. My client is in the community house now. Ms. Farr mentioned something about you know, my client, you know, not liking it there, wanting to move out, and basically making it sound like she's unstable. So what's going on is she's looking at a Oxford house. And I might have got the name wrong, but it's one of the drug treatment houses where they cater to women with children. And she has applied and is in the process of potentially moving into one of those programs that help women, but she has to have custody of her children to get into that facility. So she's in community house. She's regular UAs. She's working on herself for the betterment of the children, but she gets all sorts of issues regarding telephone contact isn't occurring, and we've had problems with that, you know, and we think part of it is on the petitioner's part because she listens in to the phone calls. My client tries to have private conversations with her children, and it just doesn't happen. And so here we are. My client doesn't have a vehicle, but the community house has said they will transport her to further these arrangements, to further her contact with her children. So potentially she could meet Miss Overby halfway, but we want overnights. We got to move this along. We need to start on a Friday through a Sunday overnight, and the community house is perfectly fine. She can say all the disparaging remarks she wants about the community house, but they are providing a service for our downtrodden citizens who would not otherwise have housing, and it's drug free. They have services for my client to take advantage of, to try to get a resume put together, try to move into transitional housing, like one of the Oxford houses or Phoenix. I mean, maybe that's what she was looking at, the Phoenix house. Yeah. But that's where we are. She needs her children, regular contact, long-term contact. They want to be with her. She wants to be with them. We need to move this along, and it's just taken too long. And part of it, we believe, is because Miss Overby is being an obstructionist, because ultimately she wants the children to stay with her, and you know, potentially get back with with the father or not. We're not sure what her plan is, but up until this point, it has been very difficult, and we do not want to rely on, just email me and we can work this visitation out. No, Your Honor, you need to set it, and she needs to comply with it, because at this point, my client has found it very difficult to maintain a relationship with her children, given the distance and given Miss Overby's reluctance.
Miss Ray, you've applied for Phoenix House, is that right?
I am today applying for the Phoenix House. However, they have asked me that they have told me that I need a reunification letter, and
Okay, so you haven't applied there yet, is that correct?
I have to today. There's 4 rooms available.
Okay, hey, ma'am, just answer my questions, please.
No,
So you have not yet applied at Phoenix House?
I
Okay.
am.
And my recollection is Phoenix House is short-term. Like 30, 60 days, something like that, isn't it?
No, it is
Ms.
housing.
Farr? Ms. Farr, do you know?
I actually don't know what the maximum amount of time is, but it is short term.
Yeah, it's some kind of short term, whether 30, 60, 90.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Chappelle, are you there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there anything you want to say?
Just that I would like to have visits, and I agree with Miss Overby.
Okay, well, as to Mr. Chappelle, sir, we'll consider any request for contact once you can provide clean UA and hair test. You understand that?
Yes.
All right.
And a hair test?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So, Miss Overby, you've been driving the kids down from Mason County for the visits at this point?
Yes, Your Honor. I also feel it's important to note that the children have always resided over half of their time in Mason County. It is their primary residence, with Cowlitz County being their secondary residence.
And Your Honor, just to clarify, the transportation that's been offered by the community house, that is for day visits, not for weekend visits. They weren't offering to do a drop off and pick up. They were just offering to meet her halfway for a day visit.
I don't believe that's correct.
That's what was relayed to me.
Well, I've talked with the community houses. They'll drive her up on a Friday to pick up the kids, and they'll drive her up on a Sunday to return them.
Okay, no one has talked to me about that.
All right, well, here's where we're at this point. We've dealt with Mr. Chappelle's contact. The distances involved make this difficult, and frankly, the onus shouldn't be entirely on Miss Overby. She's taking care of kids without getting any support from either parent. So I'm not really inclined to make things more difficult for her. I'd like to make things much less difficult for her. Miss Ray, you've got to start participating in arranging all this, and it's not going to go through Miss Farr. I don't want to keep paying Miss Farr because you don't want to email with Miss Overby. Understood?
Understood.
Okay. I'm willing to at least take a stab at some overnights. That not for the weekend, just one night overnight. It's while Miss Ray is at community house. I don't know Phoenix House's resources in terms of having children there with her. They may or may not, I just don't know. But I don't, from what I recall, that's not really part of their remit. So I'm concerned about that. So while Miss Ray is residing at community house, I think we can go to one overnight during the weekend. And I'm going to leave that to Ms. Ray and Ms. Overby to sort out based on when Phoenix House is available to do the transport, because I want the exchange to take place in Chehalis so that it's somewhat less of a burden for Ms. Overby. So Ms. Ray, you're going to have to take the initiative, talk to the people at Community House, figure out what's available, and you're going to have to communicate with Ms. Overby to set that up. Understood?
Can
And we'll continue to have the telephone call visit as is, but again, it's your burden to make sure that that's set up. You need to go directly to Ms. Overby and not through Ms. Farr. Understood? All right, Ms. Overby, any question about that?
Not a particular question. Can I request that it goes Friday night until Saturday evening so that the kids can continue their play? Braden has a lead role in our community's Christmas organization, and the rehearsal times are from 1 to 5 p.m. on Sunday.
On Sunday?
On Sunday.
Yeah, it should be set up to accommodate that. That seems, I'm sure that's
Thank you.
important to the child. But I don't know what resources or times or restrictions Community House is going to have. So I just asked the two of you work together and work with them.
Perfect.
To accomplish that.
And then, Your Honor, then the parties will just give me an update on how that's going, correct?
Yeah, and at this point, I think I'm not going to schedule another hearing. We'll give that some time to work, and if anybody thinks things should be moved forward, moved back, they can note it back on.
And so, Your Honor, will that be every other weekend?
My understanding.
I would like it to be every weekend.
Every weekend, yeah.
Okay.
But my other concern would be, as I said, Phoenix House, I don't know what they do or don't allow other than it's short term. Ms. Ray, I would strongly urge you to speak to some of the local Oxford houses. There are several Oxford houses for women with children who have them or don't have them for substantial periods of time. That's a much more stable, long-term option. They've got a lot of rules. Sometimes a lot of rules are a good thing.
I have a lot of rules here.
Yeah, I know that you do. So, I'm not saying anything bad about Phoenix House. It's a wonderful program. I don't know what their position is about dealing with visitation with children. I do know it's not a long-term option. So you might want to take a look at the Oxford House.
Okay.
All right. And Ms. Overby, anything else in terms of the communication that we need to address?
I think that every weekend would be a lot for not only me, but the children. Since these visits have started occurring, Braden has been acting out much more in school. He frets about the visits. Like, I really don't think every single weekend. I think every other weekend is a better way to transition into this.
All right, Ms. Farr, any comment on that?
Well, I was suggesting to start with every other as well, and maybe then we could work up to every, like maybe after a month.
Your Honor, we would like.
We've only had 2 visits so far.
We would like every weekend, Your Honor. This is my client and her children. And this is what's been going on is there's been just an obstruction with my client getting reestablishing her relationship with her children.
All right, well, in the interest of the children and them not being overly stressed about this, that's where I've got to consider that first and foremost. So let's start with every other weekend. When was the last visit?
Last weekend.
Okay, so, and that'll give everybody time to get it set up for a weekend after this for the overnight. And that'll also give the kids some time to kind of take that all in. So we'll go to alternate weekends at this point. And as I say, as long as the parties are agreeing on how things are going, it's up to them to expand it if they want. If either side feels that they can't reach an agreement, they're free to bring it back, but I won't schedule another hearing right now.
Your Honor, I have, there's 2 more things that I just like to bring up. One is just to clarify that when I said that Ms. Ray was looking for other placement, that was a positive comment because she is having some issues. It wasn't a comment about instability.
I took it as a positive one.
Okay, and the second thing is Miss Ray has been asking me some questions about some gifts that she has for the children that she wanted to address the court about.
Yes, ma'am.
That I've accumulated over a period of time, and some things were already theirs that I just wanted to show them, give them more things to do here. And I have to ask the court to do so. So
Just shoot Miss Overby an email with what you got. Ma'am, if there's a problem, you two try and work it out. If you can't work it out, let me know.
okay. And this is every other weekend, 1 day a week.
Yes. And then the phone calls continue.
Okay.
All right.
Is it supervised overnight?
It's if it's at community house, I'm comfortable with the supervision they provide just in the regular course of things. And we don't need to add any. If if it's an Oxford house, kind of same thing. If it's Phoenix house, I just don't know what they do or don't provide. So you'll need to provide that information to Ms. Overby. And like I say, if you guys can agree, great. If not, bring it back.
All right. Thank you.
And Your Honor, the children would stay in the facility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. All right, that will be all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, let's see, guardianship of Chappelle.
I'm here on that case, Your Honor.
I'm here on behalf of the mother, Miss Ray.
All right, and Mr. Anagnostou, did you see the filing from Miss Overby?
I did. I think I got that yesterday. I had a conversation with my client, and we had a conversation with Miss Fellows. In the past, the court has had supervised visitation with Miss Fellows supervising, and we would like to go back to them. My client has a housing issue that she's trying to solve. Currently, she doesn't have housing, and in the interim, she should be allowed to see her children supervised with Miss Fellows. Miss Fellows willing to do that, and she apparently has a credit because she had paid Miss Fellows in the past for supervised visitation, and she hadn't used up all of the funds that she had provided to Miss Fellows. So she's ready. My client's ready and very much wants to get supervised visitation started.
Ms. Overby, what's your position?
I think that if any visitation is to take place, that it does need to be supervised. We have had a significant increase in behavioral problems and emotional instability since visits have started taking place. And Miss Ray being able to facilitate setting up these overnight visits has frankly been a mess and is causing a lot of emotional drama and stress, in particular for her 11-year-old. And I do not know if visits are even in the children's best interest at this point.
All right, so what I'm going to do at this point is any visits that do take place will not be overnight. They'll be supervised through Miss Fellows' office, and it'll be Miss Ray's responsibility to arrange those through Miss Fellows, obviously with Miss Overby's input. And we'll see if that happens and how those go.
All right.
And I think I can leave it to the parties to note this back on if we need to make any change from there. Mr. Agnostic, would you agree?
No, I would agree. The only question is, how often can she have supervised visitation?
At this point, I'm going to leave that to work out between she and Miss Fellows and Miss Overby. Miss Overby's been pretty accommodating, and I'm sure Miss Fellows will be too. And the burden's going to be on Miss Ray at this point to make those, arrange those visits and show up for them.
Very good, Your Honor.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. That will be all.
Your Honor, I apologize. I was a couple minutes late and I didn't hear the beginning of this hearing. I'm the guardian ad litem in this matter. And
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
And I wanted to just speak with you a moment about, since the last hearing, Ms. Ray has revoked the ROI for me to get information from her counseling, from CORE, and Ms. Ray also has not communicated with me. I don't know where she's living. I don't know what status is. I don't know what's going on. I've tried to email Mr. Anagnostu and I'm not getting response about that either. So I don't have any information or any contact. I don't have any way to follow up to get records because Ms. Ray has pretty much blocked me out.
Okay, so Ms. Ray, obviously none of those visits are going to happen unless and until you've made contact with Ms. Farr and she's able to get the information that she wants. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Well, Your Honor, since it's supervised visitation, isn't it Miss Fellows that would determine if the visitations are going appropriately with the kids, if there's any inappropriate conduct? Or...
Yes, she will. But in the meantime, Ms. Ray's got to get the release of information to Ms. Farr so that she can continue to follow up. Ms. Overby, look like you got a question.
I do. I have a comment on that. I will say that in a previous filing, I filed a report from Miss Beth Fellows, and she too was requesting, certain stipulations on being able to have visits restarted through Reconnecting Families, as well as I want to confirm that, I have not heard from Miss Ray in regards to setting up visits. She missed her phone call this week and has essentially ghosted.
Well, Ms. Fellows is obviously going to be in charge of the actual visits and the conditions for those. But in the meantime, Ms. Ray has to make sure that Ms. Farr has access to the information she needs. So she's going to have to contact Ms. Farr. She's going to have to contact Ms. Fellows.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And guardianship of Erickson.
Ms. Farr is present now, Your Honor.